So, as you can tell by the title of this video, I have been lucky enough to get the invite out to LA for the massive Battlefield 6 reveal event that I'm sure you've seen all over the place, unless you've been absolutely living under a rock. So first and foremost, a big thank you to EA for the opportunity, specifically to you, Charlotte. If you're watching, you are an absolute gem, and we all appreciate everything that you guys have done for us. Now, obviously being out here in LA, that means I have already played the multiplayer for a decent amount of time. As you're watching this, it was yesterday that we recorded all the gameplay you're seeing in this video. And so today I wanted to give you guys my first impressions of the game overall. Now, first and foremost, just two quick little bits of housekeeping. One, if you're watching this video within the first 3 hours of it being uploaded, that means I'm actually currently live streaming the game from the event in LA. So be sure to tune into the stream. Just literally click on the channel, go to the live tab, and it should be there. Jump in the chat, say g'day, and watch some raw, unedited gameplay if you guys are interested. And you can even catch the replay that'll still be up on the channel if you are a little bit late to the video as well. Secondly, I just wanted to quickly apologize for the quality of the footage. I'm obviously not recording on my normal setup, so I had the wrong bitrate when I was recording, and it meant that the quality is just not that great overall. And even just with the commentary, for example, I'm recording on a tiny little mic, not my normal mic. So apologies for the quality of the video. It will obviously be better once we get into the lead up to the game, because I'll be back at my normal setup. But just wanted to quickly apologize for that lack of quality. Now, getting into my first impressions of the game so far, and realistically, all I have to say here is, boys, I think we are fucking back. I think Battlefield is back on the menu, and I do not say that lightly. I definitely learned my lesson from Battlefield 2042. In the lead up to that game, I was one of those suckers that thought it looked phenomenal. The trailers looked really good, and to be honest, they did look good. Even now watching them, they still look good, but we all know how that game launched. And as much as I did still have fun with it, Battlefield 2042 wasn't a good Battlefield game. So I do not say it lightly when I say I think we're back, because I'm actually trying to look for negatives and trying not to fall into the same trap that I did with 2042. But this time is a bit different. We're actually seeing gameplay early. And I will say, with Chest right now, the game in its pre-beta build that I've currently been playing is far better than 2042 in its current state. And I do not say that lightly. It is already better than 2042, at least the build that I played anyway. Again, once it launches, maybe it's going to have issues. There will no doubt be server issues and stuff. Things can go wrong. I'm not saying it's definitely going to be like a 10 out of 10, but at least from the build that I have played, boys, we are definitely back. Now, normally saying something like that, it honestly just sounds like I'm shilling. Oh, this guy's been flown out to LA. Of course, he's going to say nice things about the game and stuff like that. And normally I would sort of try and explain why I'm not shilling, because that is just not how I am. No one can buy my opinion. But this time I'm not even going to try and defend that. You guys will be able to see it for yourself next weekend and the weekend after that, when the open betas are live. And so I'm not going to try and defend myself from people calling me a shill, because I don't give a shit. Because if you play it next week and you think that I'm shilling after playing the game, I would be absolutely astonished. So realistically, there is mostly only praise to say about the game. Now, there are some little critiques I have, so don't get me wrong, it's not all sunshine and roses. I do have a few little complaints that I'll get to at the end of the video, but just from a first impressions basis, it hit all the right notes. Everyone that I spoke to at this event, even the more like cynical creators who are generally more on the negative side, even they were feeling really, really positive about it. And that sort of validated my feelings, because generally I am an easy to please, sort of happy-go-lucky type of person. And I always try to find out if other people agree with me, or if I'm just genuinely like excited about something that isn't good. But I sort of talked around to a lot of people, and pretty much everyone is really, really excited. So that is definitely a very good sign. In terms of how the game feels and stuff, it really does feel like it's a return to form type of game. The easiest way for me to describe how the game feels is it genuinely just feels like Battlefield 3 or 4, but modern. It definitely leans more towards Battlefield 3 than Battlefield 4, even though obviously those games are pretty damn similar anyway. But it just feels like those games, but it is made in a modern engine, better graphics. It feels a little bit smoother and less like sort of clunky. The movement's nicer and stuff like that. But in terms of the core gameplay feeling, it almost feels like what Battlefield 5 should be. If we're going by Battlefield 3 and 4, this almost feels like what the real Battlefield 5 would be, if that makes sense. So it is all definitely very exciting now. I can also say, finally, I've been hiding this for a while, unfortunately, because I was under an NDA. I am finally able to say, guys, I played the game back in Feb 2, so I'm not just basing this off of one session. I am finally allowed to say I have known about the game and have had experience with it since all the way back in February. I was very impressed with it back then, even though it was definitely very like buggy and it had unfinished textures and all that sort of stuff, graphical issues. It was crashing every time you did certain stuff. So it had its issues for sure, but in terms of the sort of feeling of the gameplay, it felt really good back then. And it's fair to say it feels far better now than it did back then as well, because they've obviously polished it a hell of a lot. The core gameplay feels pretty similar to how it did. It doesn't feel like they've really changed too much in terms of the gameplay, but they've just really, really polished it. In the 5 hours that we played yesterday, I didn't see a single bug except for one. That was just a dude who died and his player model was just like laying in midair for, I don't know, 10 seconds. I'll try and find the footage, but I probably won't be able to find it. But that was the single issue that I saw that's not even an actual issue. Those bugs to me are personally kind of funny to see. It doesn't affect the gameplay at all. So it feels very polished so far. Now, again, this is just the build that I played. I don't know what it's going to launch like. We also played on PC, so I don't know if maybe the console versions are going to be clapped. I have no idea. And that's why I keep saying, take it with a grain of salt, even though I'm very positive about it. Just play it for yourself in the open beta, see how you like it, form your own opinion on it, because maybe the build that we played was just awesome and it's actually clapped at launch. I have no idea. It could even launch perfectly and then the live service sucks and the game's dead within 6 months. We have no idea how this is going to go. So still try and temper your expectations, but at least from where we stand right now, things look very, very good. Overall, the game plays very, very smooth. I didn't have a single like performance issue or anything, no frame drops or anything like that. One of the most important things that I noted down is that destruction is probably the best it has ever been. In fact, I wouldn't even say probably, it is the best it's ever been, even including Bad Company 2, which we all know was kind of known for its destruction. It is better than it was in Bad Company 2. And so for those of you who are keen on destruction, well, you are definitely in for a treat there. Now, finally getting to some of the complaints that I have, because again, I'm trying to be really balanced with this. I'm not just like sucking up to the game. There were things that I noticed that I didn't love. First and foremost, I think there are already some issues with balancing, which I will say, if that's the worst of our issues, then that's probably a good thing, because every game ever has balancing issues. So it's not that big of a deal, but there are definitely some weapons that are like kind of the god guns already. If you tune into the stream, you will probably see me using the same gun over and over, because I think I found essentially the meta already. And that is obviously an issue. There's a lot of guns in this game, and if there's only like one or two that people use, it can get kind of stale. So that is one complaint that I have. Now, again, balancing is probably easier to fix than genuine bugs and stuff, because they can just tweak the values and all that sort of stuff. And therefore, even before launch, I'm sure they'll be able to fix up the balancing a little bit. But that is definitely one thing that I noticed. Not only the weapon balancing, but even the map balancing as well. There were certain maps where, or even modes, for example, like Breakthrough, where it just did feel like the defending team would always win and stuff like that. So the balancing is definitely not perfect, but it also didn't feel like bad. It just felt, it was noticeably not perfect. This is kind of the point that I'm getting at. There were definitely some guns that are better than others, but again, that is pretty damn normal for an FPS. One other thing that I had an issue with, which is very small and again, hopefully an easy fix, is that the player visibility, or not so much the player visibility, but the teammate visibility is kind of weird, because the UI is very light above their head. And so there was a lot of times I was actually shooting at teammates for like ages until I realized I wasn't getting hit markers. I would even shoot at them, not get hit markers, and like keep shooting thinking it was maybe like hit registration issues or something, until I realized, no, that is just a teammate that I'm shooting at. And that was mostly due to like the icon above their head just not really being as visible as it probably needs to be. Whereas luckily for the enemies, it's like super visible, which also does have its cons, don't get me wrong, but I never really ran into that issue for enemies. But just for teammates, there was a lot of times I just couldn't really tell if that was a teammate or an enemy, which isn't that big of an issue because it's not going to get you killed. It's just kind of annoying because you would like waste ammo on a teammate and stuff like that. So those are really the only complaints that I have as of right now. Again, keep in mind, we played a certain build of the game. It didn't have every weapon. It didn't have every map. We didn't play every single game mode and stuff. So I don't have the full picture right now. That is just based on what I did play. And again, we played about probably close to 5 hours at the event yesterday as you're watching this. And I did also play back in February down in Melbourne at the EA offices. And so I'm essentially basing all of this off that amount of playtime. It's never possible to fully understand a game like this until you've played it for like weeks on end. So again, take it all with a grain of salt, but my overall first impressions are very, very good. And like I said, I think we are genuinely back, provided they can stick the landing and then provide a good live service to keep us engaged for hopefully years to come. But that is going to do it for this one, guys. Like I said, if you are still watching, be sure to tune into the stream, or if you're catching up after the stream, that will still be live on the channel, so you can go and watch the replay if you guys are interested. Once again, a big thank you to EA for flying me out here to LA. It's been an absolutely insane trip. And even more importantly, a big thank you to you guys, because I would not be in this sort of situation without all of you guys tuning in and watching the videos over the last few years. So to all of you guys as well, I very much appreciate all the support, and you can best believe I'm fucking sending it on this game. I'm gonna try and do genuinely as much content as I can handle without losing my hair. So strap in, we are gonna be absolutely locking in on this channel, and you can expect plenty of content in the lead up to launch, and obviously after the launch, there will be even more content as well. So that is gonna do it for this one, guys. Thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you all out there on the battlefield.